Welcome back to the Diablo news, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot to talk about today, both for the future of the game and right now. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Comeback Kids are doing a giveaway with Mobilytics where they are giving away 3 Ultimate Edition copies of the game. So if you want to find out more information, stick around until the end of the video to see how you can win a copy for yourself. Let's get it started with possible hints at the 6th class coming in Diablo 4. Now, over the weekend, a player that goes by Thundercrawl stumbled across a page of game lore titled Crown and Fang of Fernum. The short passage tells a story of a centuries-old lord of a region called Gia Cool, who was obsessed with finding a way to become immortal. He was so obsessed that he actually turned to studying vampirism and had his mages conduct dark experiments to extract the secret of vampiric immortality without the adverse effects of the needed curse. But of course, all of their attempts failed, as being immortal for a human isn't exactly natural. He actually then had his army capture a vampire, which then escaped, killing him and all of his soldiers except for one. The lone survivor named Farnum was turned, but a mage then conducted a ritual to save his humanity, which was actually somewhat successful, and Farnum became the first official Blood Knight. This led to the creation of a secret brotherhood where others like him were created through the same dark technique. And this short missive also mentions a crown and spear, which were mainly symbolic but held magical or cursed powers. This was very interesting to read about as well, because the character class described could easily be part of one of the 2 announced upcoming expansions, or perhaps another future down the line. Data miners also ended up finding a male and female Blood Knight model, as well as animations in Diablo Immortal, but no official playable class confirmed as of yet. Now, since there already has been modeling and work done and a reasonably decent fleshed out backstory for this character class, it's hard to see developers just simply abandoning it overall. People are obviously upset that Diablo 4 is lacking a holy class with, Diablo 2 having the Paladin, Diablo 3 having the Crusader. So the Blood Knight sounds more like an unholy class, but it could still fit that warrior caster style-ish gameplay style. And of course, like usual, Reddit is absolutely blowing up over the passage, with people still begging for a holy class, stating that it could very well be a Valkyrie for the next one. Obviously, nothing here is official, but it is very interesting to see some new information like this. And one thing I know about Blizzard is that they never do anything for no reason. We also got loads of in-game player requests as well as issues to be announced, with the first one having to be loadouts coming into the game. There's a million different systems to keep track of in Diablo 4 when it comes to your character progression, as well as personal skills equip. I'd say the most frustrating thing would have to be the fact that in order to change your build even slightly, whether it be just a couple abilities or so, you could very well be investing hours of time before you even get back to combat once again. Changing gear with the right affixes, as well as legendary aspects on them, your skill tree and passives along there as well, and the biggest one is going to have to be the Paragon board. The worst part about it is that you actually have to manually reset your Paragon board every single node at a time. And by the time you start heading into the deep endgame, you have hundreds of points in there, which forces you to click hundreds of times manually across every node to even begin thinking about what you want to do next. It's definitely a major quality of life issue players are having with the game at the moment, as well as myself personally. I'm someone who absolutely loves to test out builds and theory craft endlessly, and having to do all this every single time is nothing but a major chore. Even one of the best additions to Destiny 2 was the game's addition of loadouts the past year. It dramatically opened up build diversity and made experimentation much easier. Now listen, the community isn't asking for the developers to take away the gold sync idea with it all, because honestly, no one has an issue with investing in your character in the long term and, diving into what you actually want to play. We just simply want the option to have it more frictionless and smooth to be able to easily swap and cater to the encounter that lies before us. I'm sure all of you have the situation where you have a build that is great against elites and monsters, but then when you head up into that final boss encounter in a dungeon, you have to swap a couple abilities around as well as passives to be able to perform the best you can. No one wants to have an area of effect loadout when you're trying to do effective single target DPS, and adding a very big list of chores on top of the stress, to change out a gear set really isn't something players want or need when they're trying to just have a good time in a game. So if they simply added some sort of gear loadout as well as builds tab for your skills and Paragon board, the game honestly would be in a much better spot switching for encounters on the go. I'm sure you all are well aware of the multiple occurrences of legendary aspects being disabled as well, and how it's starting to add up to player frustration within the community. A user heading on over to Twitter stating, imagine instead of disabling aspects, you first had them fixed or adjusted how you wanted so people wouldn't get their builds screwed for days. Adam Fletcher then responded saying they are being fixed for a bug or exploit, and those fixes go through testing and then are pushed out. The team took an easier weekend to ensure individuals were well rested after a long week and a half of launch. There is work/life balance that is important for everyone. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important to know that the launch of the game from many creators as well as developers for Diablo 4 has been an immense workload to put out as much content and updates as they possibly can for the community. Yes, obviously it does suck that some legendary aspects as well as other things are being disabled, but it's definitely for good reason because we're getting Whirlwind and Bleed Barbarians hitting for the billions of damage using exploits and bugs constantly. You have to know that the developers get absolutely nothing out of disabling things, permitting you from enjoying the game the way that you want to. Their intentions are good, and it's just for the betterment of the game, so nothing is getting abused. Another major concern across the community, specifically for druids, is that they are actually tied into the loot table of the barbarian unique weapons, and it's honestly been heavily impacting a lot of people's playthroughs. A user on Twitter states that they're a level 93 druid and found more than 30 barbarian unique weapons and is getting pretty frustrated about it. Rod Ferguson replied by saying that it is a known issue and they are working on it. Wildhead notes that such posts date back several days on Diablo 4's subreddit, and that the players struggling with the issue will be pleased to learn that Blizzard developers are aware of the bug and they're already working on a way to address the problem as soon as possible. Now heading into the big headline of today, it seems that the 9th hotfix of Diablo 4 has brought a ton of changes that is going to change Sanctuary forever. That's right, because Blizzard has officially nerfed Diablo 4's best dungeons to farm experience points as well as loot, and I gotta say, fans are not happy. In the patch notes, Blizzard developers stated that they're standardizing the density of elite monsters that spawn in dungeons to assure that no particular dungeon is clearly more efficient to run through than others. This pretty much means that Blizzard has lowered the number of elite monsters in dungeons that are deemed too popular for farming, so all those really short dungeons with high density elite mob packs that, generated a ton of XP as well as loot are pretty much cut in half. Fans are raving over Reddit saying that, can Blizzard stop nerfing any fun or good dungeon in the game? Can they instead maybe start buffing like 90% of the dungeons that are so bad that people don't ever want to run them? And dungeons with lower monster density are just simply boring. We mean more density because more elites and monsters packed in tight areas mean more overall fun. I would say the biggest problem with this whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that the developers are caught in a little bit of a tight space because they obviously don't want anyone to abuse one thing, but they want players to enjoy the game as well. I will say, though, it does seem like they don't want you to do dungeons all day long because they really built an open world and want you to experience all of it the way they intended to. I'm not gonna lie, there are some things out there in the open world that do feel like a big chore to do. Now, I personally wouldn't mind farming Hell Tides or doing side quests if they actually gave you at least more elite groups and spawns or maybe more rewarding experience when you complete the quest or event. It seems like everybody that I talk to simply spams nightmare dungeons or regular dungeons with a group rather than actually playing key features that are now integrated into Diablo 4. Another major part of the backlash actually has to do with the time it takes to level up. Specifically when you hit level 50, the change in XP changes dramatically. So I'd say the number one problem with this is that for the more casual player that doesn't have much time to play every day, they're going to fall behind drastically if they can only invest 1 to 2 hours every night. I'm playing the game personally 4 to 6 hours a day, and I'm just now about to reach level 80 on my main character. I couldn't imagine how long it's going to take for the, hard-working father or mother that only has a few hours a night to actually invest into the game. I highly doubt they're even going to be able to make it to level 100 and give the Paragon boss even a decent go before the official Season 1 launches for Diablo 4 in mid to end July. What makes things even worse is that a lot of players actually feel penalized for not farming dungeons in a group or doing group content in general because you clear content as well as dungeons and events a lot slower, resulting in a slower rate of experience gain. Fans are pretty much just simply upset that Blizzard hasn't really learned anything from Diablo 3 as all of its best experience farms get nerfed to literal hell. It got to the point in Diablo 3 where players demanded more mob density until they eventually got it in the form of rifts, and eventually it proved to be hugely popular because we're here today in Diablo 4 with nightmare dungeons. People are even asking why they are nerfing dungeons rather than just simply buffing the other ones to equal the amount of experience gain. I mean, this pretty much just effectively doubled the time to hit level 100. Other people are saying that they might want the preseason experience to be somewhat of a slog while they balance everything and keep things in check. Encouraging people to redo all of the renown in less than a month from now will be hard, but will be a lot easier if they put a big carrot on a stick that says, you level up faster with bonus seasonal experience. Now, honestly, I think the answer to this problem, ladies and gentlemen, of player spamming regular dungeons over and over is honestly quite simple. The answer would simply be that doing harder content such as nightmare dungeons higher than your level would reward you a greater amount of experience points, because where it stands as of right now, the most effective thing to do in the game to level up fast is grab you and a group of friends, go spam the same normal dungeon until you level up as much as possible. I think that by bringing more incentive to players pushing nightmare dungeons to their absolute limits, no matter what level they are, with a massive experience boost depending on how much higher level the enemies are in the nightmare dungeons, as well as completing it, will be an amazing thing for the game's long-term health. This will even bring more variety into play because, as you all know, the nightmare sigils that you actually obtain are random, and you can't run the same dungeons over and over unless you just get super lucky. We even got a user on Twitter asking for something just like this, and one of the game's leading developers, Joe Piora, simply replied by stating, So we could definitely hope and pray that some sort of buffs or more incentives to nightmare dungeons will be increased, and by doing so, we think the player health would be a lot better. Now, even though all the dungeons did get nerfed, it seems that people are already looking onto the next big thing in terms of XP farms. The two dungeons coming to mind is the Blind Burrows, which can be found east of Zarbinzat in Hawazar, and the Older Cave, which is a dungeon within Kejitstan. Both of these dungeons have incredibly linear layout, and it makes for a great place to level up for solo players, so you might want to go check those out. By the way, tomorrow it is confirmed that there is a new Diablo 4 developer stream that is going to be the first of many campfire chats. It's going to detail their successful game launch, as well as feedback they've received from the community, and even what's on the horizon for Diablo 4. Adam Fletcher stated that these streams are definitely going to be different from developer update live streams, which are going to be updates aimed to reveal or showcase brand new content. They did also mention they are going to have one of these next month for Season 1. He also states that the goal for Campfire Chat is to have a format where they just simply sit and have a conversation with the community, and they want to have these quite often. They've heard a lot of feedback related to dungeons, renown, and more, and they want to talk to us directly about it. Hopefully for this live stream, the chat won't be disabled, and they'll actually answer real questions and concerns from the fans, unlike last time. We also got a pretty funny meme from Force Gaming over on Twitter, with Blizzard saying that Diablo 4 Seasons will offer new and exciting ways to play, with the fans replying, "Oh, sweet." And then Blizzard coming back and saying, "And you get to unlock the entire map, every waypoint, dungeon, side quest, and grind renown again." Then he replies saying, I'm a head out, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. I think this developer campfire chat stream is going to be super crucial, honestly, to them calming down the fans with the whole renown grind again, as well as the dungeon nerfs, which pretty much is going to make everything a lot slower leveling to level 100. If you want my honest opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I think the best thing they could possibly do for Diablo 4 is to incentivize people for running nightmare dungeons at the highest difficulty possible, no matter what their level is. Maybe by giving you a 5% experience boost to killing monsters every level higher than you. So if you're clearing nightmare dungeons 10 levels over you, you will get a 50% experience boost for clearing that content and killing the monsters. I think it solved the issue of having the player base not spam the same dungeon over and over, and also them experiencing the endgame content that the developers actually want to display to the player base. After that, it's really just about incentivizing world events to keep everything else in check. Overall, there has been a decent amount of drama, I'm not gonna lie, but Diablo 4 is definitely headed in the right direction if they can make these changes happen. I think the player base is mostly happy about everything that's been going on, and me personally, I've been ecstatic playing this game for the last couple of weeks, and really, I only have a couple minor issues with the game. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Comeback Kids are doing a giveaway with Mobalytics, where they are giving away 3 Ultimate Edition copies of the game. If you want to find out more information, head on down to the link in the description below to see how you can win that. We also want to take a moment to shout out our channel members over here on YouTube, because you are all the #1 supporters of the Comeback Kids, and we absolutely couldn't keep this channel going without you all. The giveaway for our channel members this month is going to be the brand new Razer Black Widow Pro keyboard, worth over $230. So if you all are interested in earning exclusive rewards from the Comeback Kids, as well as being given the opportunity to giveaways constantly, click that join button below or follow the link in the description to become an official Comeback Kid today. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It's an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!